I don't know about you. I have a lot of discussions with people about programs and program hopping and durations of programs, etc.
Yeah.
I believe in a lot of cases, program hopping is killing your progress.
Yep.
So why do you think people have constant desire to change their program? Like, for the ones that want it changed often, why do you think that that's the case?
Primary reason, and this is with good faith, is the pursuit of progressive overload, and that as a program starts to get deeper, you feel less. You get more, less from the session.
Yeah.
And if you want that dopamine, I need that feedback that things are happening, that becomes challenging.
Yeah, so you're saying if somebody starts their program just nowhere near where their maximum potential is for the lift, week 1, and they go up like, I don't know, 5-10% every week, they're going to get to their true, I guess, like potential for that lift at like, say, week 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And then when it's actually getting hard because the rate of progression isn't as high as what they're used to, they're like, I need a new program.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I had a client like military press.
Yeah.
Got to like 35-ish. And she was like, oh, like I just can't get any progress. I'm like, are you getting extra reps? She's like, oh, maybe like 1 extra rep a fortnight, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm like,
welcome.
I'm like, I was like, how much, so she's a seasoned competitor. I'm like, how much your bench press gone up in the last 2 years? She's like, I don't know, maybe like 5 kilos. I'm like, what do you bench? 60 odd? I'm like, okay, so you've increased 10% in 2 years. What's 10% of 30 kilos? It's like 3 kilos. I'm like, okay. See where I'm going with this? Like, if you're proficient at the movement, it doesn't just magically improve anymore.
Yeah.
So what you're seeing is obviously neural adaptations, confidence, proficiency at the exercise, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So you get that for 4 weeks, and you probably undershot at the start, and like that's best case scenario.
Yeah.
The less favorable answer potentially for the person doing it is you're not doing the thing, and you're looking for the solution to why you're not getting results, and you're looking in the wrong spot. So you're not sleeping, training, eating, recovering to the highest potential. So you're not seeing the outcomes that you want. So instead of taking responsibility for the sleeping, the eating, and the training hard, I need a new program.
Yeah, that'll solve all my problems, right? Yeah, that's a big one. Do you think people's misunderstanding of progression and progressive overload is part of the reason why people want to change programs sooner? Because, like, you know, we get sold this, like, you move into, once you go from exercise to training, I feel like you start thinking about progressive overload.
Yeah.
So it's like, here's your key to the realm of training. You now understand progressive overload is one of the most foundational principles to getting the results that you want.
Yeah.
So then they go, okay, cool. Now I have an understanding that I have to increase in weight reps, you know, every week, work on my form, whatever it is that you're going to use as progression, right?
Yeah.
As you said it before, once you get your key, you're still a raw lifter.
Yeah.
So you're going to just chip away and not really get to your max potential in a lift and challenge yourself where you're actually making like real hard, tangible progress. And when it does slow down, they're like, oh, I'm failing because I'm not doing this like progressive overload thing anymore.
Yeah.
And that means that I need to change the training up. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot, there's so many reasons why people program hop. It's thinking you have to progressively overload every session, and when you don't, then you're going backwards. Because I know a lot of my clients are like, oh, I didn't progress this week. Like, I feel like this week's been a failure. And it's like, it's not like your body goes, okay, well, we're not going to elevate muscle protein synthesis, and we're not going to positively upregulate your neurological adaptations to make you stronger.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe burn some body fat or whatever, just because like you didn't lift more. Like, it's still doing it. It's just the first exposure is always the greatest, like the most that you'll get out of all of it. So there's no point throwing the baby out of the bathwater for that. Then it's like, if you are starting your program at nowhere near what your potential is for the lift, like, if anything, you're actually just wasting like 3 or 4 weeks of your program itself trying to figure it out, which means, in my opinion, you need to do another 4 to 8 on top of that to actually get any benefit from it. And then the other thing as well is like hitting a wall, in my opinion, is good. Because I'm like, now I can go through the process of elimination on like how to get around it.
Why? Yeah.
Because in a lot of cases, like, people would probably dot I's and cross and T's outside of the gym. So that like their training's good, their nutrition's good, their hydration's good, their sleep is good. Sometimes you just need to hit the wall and just hit it a couple of times until you go through it.
Yeah.
And that's like, in a lot of cases, I'm like, you just need more time. Like the thing, especially with like building a physique or like developing a physique, I'm not sure if it's the same with like in the strength realm. It's like you may not get through the next level at the first attempt.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean like you've plateaued. It just means my body needs another exposure before it can break through.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like as you were saying that, maybe more from a strength angle, I was thinking about the psychological element of it too, just the confidence.
100%.
And not even just the confidence, like, oh dear. Sorry, just cut a hole in my own leg. It's bleeding everywhere.
Did you name it? Need to sort that out.
We're good. Just the confidence to send the thing, or actually what the set requires from you.
Mm.
So, like, I've been posting, like, my pendulum sets since I started doing them, like 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And there's, like, each week there's, like, a new level of, like, arousal that I'll create before the set. What I ask for the people around me during the set.
Yeah.
What I do in preparation for the set. What I'm willing to go through in the set.
Mm.
And how I'm willing to feel after it. So it's like, that's a progression in and of itself.
Yep.
So the weight has gone up half a plate because I get the fucking death rattle and slam the thing up and be a dickhead before I actually do my set, just to get into the place that I need to be to do the thing.
Mm.
So it's like, if you're approaching the 30 kilo dumbbells this week the same way you approached them last week, maybe you have the strength there, but the arousal isn't.
Mm.
So you've got to bring something that's a little bit different to be able to execute, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting part of it too. Just like, have you, when you're at that wall, is the solution something outside the gym, or is it just like the way you're approaching the lift?
Yeah, and that can be enough.
Set.
Mental preparation is a huge factor in training performance.
Because you get comfortable too. Like, I've been on, for example, this is a good example. I've been on 140 kilos on this Panada press at my gym for 4 months.
Yeah.
Like 140 by 6 builds it up to 8, but just can't. The thought of putting more weight on it, like, it hurts me. My joints hurt.
Yeah.
My build-up sets have gotten heavier, and I've added 2 reps in 4 months.
Mm.
My chest is growing.
Yeah.
But the first time I did 140, 2 people were there. It was a hype up. I was like, let's fucking go. Yeah. I'm going to kill myself to get this set.
Yeah, now it's
like, put 140 on, we'll do 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I'm let's headbutt a wall, can I get 150? Probably.
Yeah.
I just have to make the decision to be like, I'm going to die under this.
Yeah, and what's the cost of that on the other side that you're willing to live with as well?
And you can't stay there all the time.
Mm.
But once you've hit the 150, it's like, okay, next week I don't need, like, there's a little bit more belief, there's a little bit more whatever to execute it, so you don't need that level of arousal. But
yeah.
I'm comfortable with it now, so maybe I do.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to go in next week and be like, put a leather belt in my mouth, let's fucking get it, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the other thing as well is like people have been sold the belief that like variety, mixing things up is like going to keep your body adapting, when like they're just looking at it from the adaptation like part of the whole system. So they're like, let's try and keep the body adapting. So I need a mixed amount of stimulus for that.
Yeah. When
really what happens is the body needs to have a constant specific stimulus and for training in order for it to respond very specifically. So it actually makes more sense to do repetitious workouts that are the same in terms of order and sequence and etc. for a period of time, so your body's like, okay, this signal is stable.
Yeah.
I'm obviously going through like that stress phase, alarm phase, and then adaptation and all of that. Rather than going, well, this week I need to do this, and then I need to mix this up, and then I mix this up. And then if you couple that mentality into what we spoke about earlier with like people who don't actually train hard enough week 1 and 2 of their program, like you're just doing a bunch of random training, not at an intensity that's actually ever going to challenge your body. No wonder you work out 4 to 5 times. No wonder there's people who work out 4 to 5 times per week and then look in the mirror and go like, how the hell do I look like this?
Yeah.
Like, And then if I look at where I've gotten the best results personally, I've said this so many times. Come out of university, it was like 12-week programs, sometimes 16 weeks. So I was just like, cool, strength and conditioning background, it's 12 or 16 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I got really strong and I feel like I made really good progress. But then I was like, was it because I was young? Like, could I have just made it whatever, no matter what?
Yeah.
But then we moved to like hyper-specific bodybuilding. And when I mean hyper-specific bodybuilding, it was like you're doing this particular like stimulus and style of training for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I did a bunch of cool shit and I learned how to train hard, I feel like, maybe.
Well, at least.
Yeah. Well, but I didn't really make as much progress as when looking back, I feel like I could have.
Yeah.
And then I look at, say, the last 5 years, I'm like, I'm just not going to listen to anyone anymore and just think and just do what's true to me, based on everything that I know and everything that I believe.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of a combination of everything that I've learned, which is, makes perfect sense.
Don't do that if you don't have 10 years of coaching experience.
Well, yeah, absolutely. When I say that, it's like I've been this whole
True
time
to myself, every session's different.
Trying to just formulate my method, right?
What's best for me.
Yeah. So, probably clarifying that. It's like I've always been trying to cultivate my method of everything that I've learned. And then now it's like I change the program probably 3 times a year. And I really feel like there's repetitive, because I believe just like repetition is where the secret is. Like, you look at everything, it's like doing the same thing over and over again makes you the best at it. It's like if I wanted to learn how to shoot a basketball, shooting the basketball from the free throw line, let's say, shooting it from the 3-point line doesn't make me better at the free throw line. Shooting it at the top of the on the side under the ring. So shoot the ball from the free throw line and do it a lot.
Yeah,
your program's the same.
I think. Yeah, I was going to go to exactly the same place. It's like with that variability, I was going to use instruments, but maybe throwing a ball's better. You wouldn't, if you wanted to learn to be good at shooting a basketball, you wouldn't shoot a basketball for a week and then
kick a 40,
throw an NFL ball and then throw a baseball and then throw a tennis ball and then try and throw the basketball again to see if you've improved.
Absolutely.
You just throw the basketball repeatedly
Absolutely.
for an extended period of time until you were proficient at it.
Yeah.
And that's what changing your program is. You're training skill forever.
Yeah.
So you're moderately skilled at everything and not great at anything.
Yeah.
And I think it was interesting. I was watching our YouTube video last night. Like, no disrespect to Mimi on the video at all. Just like watching her with 2-3 years of training under her belt, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
Watching what failure looks like.
Yeah.
And it's like the body shifts, one arm drops. It's a little bit different. And then watching you and I just like, that looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's slow.
The reps just stop,
and then
though.
it doesn't happen.
The reps just stop, yeah.
So it's like, that's just like rep after rep after rep after rep of being good at training over a really long time that then gets that outcome.
Yeah. Yeah, I said that to the girls when I trained with them at Iron Hub.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, it's just so fascinating to watch how you train compared to how you will train in 5 years.
Yeah.
As I'm like, you can just see it. Like, and it just comes with time and obviously awareness. So, how long do you think a program should go for? Or what are some? Let's keep this quick fire. Like value.
Yeah.
So scenarios, timelines.
I'm finding the sweet spot for most of the people I work with is 8 weeks.
Yeah, me too. I'm finding 8 to 10. So I'll do 8, and then I like the idea of like, hey, do you still feel like there's a little progression here?
Yeah.
And then I'll push the program out 10 weeks. So my guys know there's always 8 to 12 week window.
Yeah.
It's no different to a rep range. You know, I'm like,
Yeah.
you can do 6, you can do 8, you can do 10 if it's 6
Yeah.
to 10. So I have a similar belief. Like I'm a very proactive coach in planning, reactive in application.
Yeah.
So I'll very rarely move on from a program just because like it's the end.
Time. Yeah.
Like unless it's like sits in the timeline of the periodization map that I've set, and that's usually like there's a very, very hyper specific goal in the timeline. But if, like, you know, you got a general lifestyle client who's trying to improve, and like, you know, even if it is for like a photo shoot or something like that, I'm usually like, if you still feel like there's progression here, like I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because let's be real. Like, let's talk about the last 20% of the program. Like that's where you're going to make the most progress.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you want to be there as long as possible if you still feel there is progression? And like I always say to the guys, do you feel like you have progress to be made in the movements in the gym?
Yeah.
And are you still mentally prepared to show up?
Yeah.
If they answer me yes on both of those, mate, you're going back in.
Yeah.
You're 100% going back in. Because I'm not losing momentum, taking a deload you don't need, because first week of the program usually is. And then spending a 2-week period trying to get all your movements back up to where they are.
Yeah.
If we don't have to.
Yeah. Agreed.
You know? Yeah, I'm so passionate about that.
Yeah, and what's interesting, I think, is when you program for strength, and I have a lot more body composition as a percentage than maybe I did a year ago. It's just what happens when I change direction.
Yeah.
Right? That's almost like a 26-week program, where it's like we're starting with lots of movement variability and minimal high volume, minimal specificity. Intensity is not very high. Over time, intensity comes up, volume comes down, specificity goes up. So it's like the hypertrophy block is probably the only one that I wouldn't say is the program. Once you start squat, bench, and deadlifting, the program's like the same. It's just modified. If that makes sense?
Yeah. It's just slightly, it's like you're just pulling out a piece. Like there's just pieces that get pulled out.
Like, oh, we don't need this anymore. We'll slightly change that exercise.
It just gets
the
reduced.
rep range changes, but it's like the program lasts 20 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then...
And I started doing that with the people that get bored.
Yeah.
Copy the same program, modify it enough for them, as least as possible for me, and then they'll do 12 to 16 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I subscribe to that a lot. So what mindset shift do people need to break the cycle of program hopping?
Rely on your objective data more.
Yep.
So my 140 kilo machine press, my chest is bigger. So it doesn't matter that it's only been 2 reps in that time, my chest is growing. Yep. Why am I doing the exercise? So my chest grows.
Yeah.
What am I going to change it for? Dips? Is my chest going to grow? I don't know. Like, I feel really fucking good in my chest, and dips, I tend to use my shoulders a lot. You know, like, it's just, if you're getting the outcome from the thing, are you training for the outcome, or are you training for the dopamine of the moment?
I feel like I've gotten better every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
I think it's, the only caveat I want to add is, like, I understand you and I are robotic in a lot of the things that we do. And that's probably like the neurospicy thing.
Yeah.
Like, I will eat the same meal for 9 years. And I'll do the same program for 9 months. And I'm okay with it. And I understand some people aren't solely outcome driven and they do need changes. I guess it's us having that conversation again of like, what's the absolute best that you think you could do to get the maximum outcome? And we can work back from there. So how long can you, like you said, are you still willing and able to show up in this program? How long can you stick to a program for?
Yeah.
Because these are all the benefits of doing it. Even if you're a little bored, this is why you should stick it out. If you're not a person that's just like, I love going in and doing the same thing.
Yeah. I think the easiest way to like wrap a bow on this is like, if you program hop and you don't see the results that you want, try not program hopping and see how that works out for you.
Yeah.
And like you said before, if you're not taking ownership for like the other lower hanging fruits of like your sleep, your nutrition, your hydration, like those things as well, then it's like the change in programs isn't going to help you.
Yeah.
So there, you can definitely periodically change your program and still get great results, but it's because you're doing all of those other things. So it's like, it's not this magic thing that's going to solve those issues for you. It's not like a crutch that's going to aid everything else.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, if you keep doing what you are doing right now and you're not happy with the results you're getting, well, you're going to continue to not get the results that you want because you're still doing the same thing. So
Yeah.
spending a little bit more time on your program, I can almost guarantee that you'll get better results than you currently are. But we have to make sure we're doing all of those other things outside of the gym as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.